Welcome to Mind Body Besties, your weekly reset with real talk, a little laughter, and the kind of honest conversations you'd have with your closest friend. I'm Katie, a therapist.
And I'm Rachel, a naturopathic doctor. We're here to share the personal stories, struggles, and wins that have shaped our own health and happiness. This isn't a lecture, it's a safe space to slow down, connect, and feel a little more human again. So grab your coffee, get cozy, and let's reset together.
Welcome back, everybody. Today we have Marisa Maas. She's a holistic fitness creator and entrepreneur, Miss Fit and Nerdy on YouTube, and the founder of Symbio Skin. And today we're going to talk about her new skincare line, her journey through topical steroid withdrawal, and what that looked like from a physical health and a mental health perspective, and just what makes her unique as a creator. There's lots of people talking about health and fitness, but we felt like Marisa had a really unique perspective to share. And so that's why we have her on today. So welcome, Marisa.
Hi, thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, we are too. So let's just get started with how did you find your way into the holistic fitness and health space?
Ooh, this is a bit of a long story, so I'll try to make it not the longest story on the planet. I think I grew up, my mom is very invested in health, so I kind of grew up in an environment that was conducive to kind of being healthy and just having that in the back of my brain, but it wasn't something I was specifically interested in. I just kind of we ate a lot of salads growing up, So I was exposed to the vegetables, but it wasn't really until I think junior year of college, I was procrastinating studying for finals and went down the rabbit hole of watching various YouTubers. And at the time, that was when women lifting on YouTube was kind of blowing up. So I found a bunch of women that were lifting, like Whitney Simmons, Abby Pollack, the original Gymshark girls. And I was binging their YouTube content. And for college, we had a PE requirement. And I was like, okay, I'm going to sign up for lifting because I want to be as cool as these girls on YouTube. And so I took a lifting class and immediately fell in love with it. I felt so good. Before then, I thought my only options for exercise were cardio. I just didn't know anything about health and fitness, but lifting just felt so good. I felt so strong. And then that just kickstarted a whole thing of going deeper and deeper and deeper down the rabbit hole of learning everything I could about exercise science, and then getting into nutrition, and then going even deeper into that. And I eventually found myself in more of the holistic space, because the more I learned and the more I studied, the deeper I wanted to go. And I was just learning as much as possible. So that's how I found myself here.
That's amazing.
One thing I really appreciate about you is that you cite studies about things, and you can read a study and you don't just say whatever. You have something to back it up. And so I've always really appreciated that about your content.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I named myself Miss Fit and Nerdy on YouTube for a reason. I am a huge nerd. I love science. I love reading the actual studies. I love reading a study and trying to pick apart why it's not as scientifically sound as it might present on the surface. I think a healthy amount of skepticism going into the science around fitness and nutrition is super important, because so many studies are, there's so many studies about pre-workouts that are funded by the pre-workout company. But yeah, no, I love reading about all of the science and just learning as much as I can so that I can puzzle everything together for myself.
I love that. I feel that's how Katie and my brains are. We're always we're a little bit skeptical. How does this work? But yes. I'm curious, is there any claim or data that women might be surprised about lifting, what lifting can do for health?
Ooh, I think at this point, maybe I think I'm just very embroiled.
You probably know so much. Imagine we know nothing.
Yeah, okay. I think one of the most important things for women to understand that is now being talked about in like deep in the health and fitness space, but like not generally at this point, I think, is just how important muscle mass is for longevity. Muscle being like, I forget who it is. There's someone prominent in the space that always talks about how like muscle is the organ of longevity. And I think she's like very much correct in that. Like there's so many health benefits to having more muscle mass, and that can sound scary for a lot of women that like don't lift like more muscle mass. It doesn't mean like being huge and like having a ton of muscle mass. It just means like having enough to support healthy metabolism. And by metabolism, I don't just mean the number of calories that you're burning throughout the day, but also how your body is processing the food that you consume. So like part of how your body metabolizes things is how it metabolizes sugars. And if your body cannot process sugar well, if you are insulin resistant, then that is going to have a negative impact on your health, on your longevity. But if you have more muscle, you tend to be more insulin sensitive, and that has a positive impact on your health and your longevity. So there's just so many ways that muscle plays a part in your overall health. And I think the world would be a better place if more women were aware of that.
I love that because Katie and I were roommates in college, and Katie, remember we'd like go and we'd just do the elliptical and we'd do the treadmill and like we wouldn't really do much else. And this was back in like 2010 or whatever. And I feel like, I feel like lifting has gotten more popular, but at least with our millennial brain, everyone was always like, I don't want to get huge. I don't want to get yoked.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't start lifting weights until I saw girls on YouTube lifting weights like you and like Whitney Simmons and Nikki Blackadder and all of those girls. I was like, oh, okay, I can lift weights. And I didn't get into it quite as much because I also really liked yoga. I'm actually a yoga teacher. I haven't taught in a long time, but I have my certification. And so I used to do a lot of yoga too. Okay, so after college, did you just go straight into like full-time content creation and started doing coaching and programs and stuff like that?
Yeah, so I started my YouTube channel a couple months before graduating, and it was like the first video I made after, I might have published it when I was still in school, but basically like I remember the beginning of that summer, I had like a video go viral on intermittent fasting. And so that kind of launched my YouTube channel and it took off, and I rolled with it. I had a bunch of people like sending me like 5-paragraph essays on their like fitness journeys, asking me for help. And I was responding to everyone and like just trying to help as many people as I could. And somewhere around the same time, I think when I started lifting, soon after, I decided to get my personal training certification just because I wanted to learn the fundamentals of training.
Yeah.
So I did it for myself because I'm a nerd and wanted to like learn everything that I could. And so once people were like sending me so many messages and like asking for so much help, I was like, I should put this certification to use and like actually coach people, because it got to a certain point where like I couldn't keep responding to everyone for free. So I decided to start coaching. But I will say at the same time, like my career goal at that point was to work in film production. I wanted to be a writer, showrunner. So I was also working in film at that time. And I was not sleeping. I was working like 90 hours a week.
Oh my gosh.
It was insanity. But so pretty quickly I was like, okay, I have to pick something. And I was just so passionate about the work that I was able to do on YouTube and the people that I was able to help. And, you know, working with clients who you see them transform in such profound ways, like that was so rewarding that I was like, okay, well, you know, the likelihood of making it in Hollywood, very, very small, and YouTube, extremely rewarding. So walked away from film, went full-time into YouTube, into coaching, into program writing and creation, etc.
I love your logic in choosing which path to go down.
That's so
It was a big
cool, though.
decision because like that was like working in film was my goal for so long. But, you know, I mean, I was still getting to like create videos on YouTube. So I was still kind of getting to do what I wanted to do, but I also had the opportunity to make such a big impact. So it definitely felt like the right decision at the time.
So, what do you add into your coaching since it's like holistic fitness coaching that you wouldn't typically get? Like, instead of just like a here's a workout, here's your calories, do it. What do you add into your programs?
Yeah, so my programming is first and foremost extremely individual. A lot of trainers will just use like online calculators and like have like a very structured program that they basically just put everyone through and just kind of change a little bit depending on the client. With me, everything is hyper customized depending on what someone needs. So I will write like a very custom workout program, like, go through, figure out how they want to change their body if they're trying to change their body and write a program for that. And then nutrition wise, it's not just calories and macros. Before I give any sort of prescription for nutrition, I have a like essentially hour-long questionnaire that I will take my clients through where I get to know their hormones. Like that's huge, especially for my female clients, is like, are you ovulating regularly? Like, are your hormones balanced? How is your body responding to exercise? Like, what are your energy levels? Do you have any sort of autoimmune issues? I've worked with a lot of clients with various health issues. And so that has had to come into play in my recommendations for them. Like, for example, I worked with a client who had, I forget what exactly it was. It was some sort of autoimmune condition that affected her eyes. And she was also trying to lose fat. And so, I put her on a relatively standard lifting program that was maybe a little bit less intense because her body couldn't handle the intensity of like what I would give to someone who was like, quote, perfectly healthy. And then nutrition wise, we experimented with a couple different elimination diets while also having her in a calorie deficit. So we were focusing on fat loss, but also really prioritizing her health. And so just running with this example, like what we found is the autoimmune protocol, like completely transformed her life. Like she basically put her autoimmune condition into remission and she was having no more symptoms by the time we were done working together. And she was like consistently losing fat, making amazing progress. So I think what's really foundational for how I work with clients is that I put their health first. And if they have any sort of health issues or any sort of symptoms, relieving that to the extent that it can be relieved or fixed is my priority, because the healthier you are, the easier it is to lose fat, the easier it is to build muscle, and the easier it is to maintain those results in the long run. So it's taking the health issues into account, also looking at sleep, optimizing sleep environment, looking at stress levels. Something that I realized fairly quickly in working with clients is that a lot of them would benefit from seeing me and a therapist at the same time, because mental health plays such a big part in your fitness journey. And to be fair, I think I was attracting a very specific type of client based off of my content, but I was getting a lot of people who didn't have the best relationship with food. And when we dug deeper, it tended to come from something else. Like I had a different client who struggled with binge eating for a little bit, and we ended up like tracing that back to her relationship with her mom and perfectionism. And so we got to a point where I was like, okay, like, what to do fitness wise. I think, stop working with me, go work with a therapist on these issues. And that's going to be the biggest game changer for you when it comes to making the progress that you really want to make on your fitness journey. So yeah, basically we get into a lot when it comes to working with me. And yeah, it's very health focused, mental health focused. And then the other pieces just kind of fall into place once you get all of that aligned.
That sounds really beautiful and very custom. That's amazing.
Very custom.
Yeah,
Yes.
we need more people doing that. And it's funny that you mentioned the mental health piece, because when I see clients, usually our first session, they come in and they're like, I want to work on anxiety. And I'm like, okay, great. And then 6 weeks, 10 weeks, whatever down the line, we're talking about something completely different.
Yes.
And what they came in for is like not actually the problem.
Mhm.
It's something else. And
Yeah.
that just happens all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing how deep you can go into those things. And yeah, the problem is not usually the problem. And to kind of bring it full circle, like that's what you see specifically fitness wise, as well as people are like trying to lose fat and they can't lose fat. But the problem isn't like a slow metabolism or like inability to stick with a workout program. It's some like hormonal issue that they're kind of ignoring because all they want to do is lose fat. So yeah, usually like the problem is not the problem.
Yeah. Everything is so multifaceted. And it,
Mhm.
like, if you're just trying to lose fat, it seems like that would be easy or
Yep.
just look different, but it takes a lot more than people think.
Yes, 100%.
Definitely. Well, now that we're touching on the emotional and mental and how that ties in with the physical, I know you've shared a lot about your journey with topical steroid withdrawal, TSW.
Mhm.
And that, I mean, I have worked with people who've had that, and like the toll that that takes mentally is insane. So I'm curious if you could share for us, like, what was your physical, mental, emotional experience? Like, what did you go through with TSW?
Yeah, so I went through topical steroid withdrawal for about a year in basically 2019, and physically it was horrendous. Especially in the beginning when it was at its worst, I wasn't sure if I was going to make it through, especially when I didn't know what was happening to my body. And, my skin was basically like falling off. My body was super inflamed. I had like potato feet. Getting out of bed in the morning was excruciatingly painful because I would like go from laying flat to like, putting my feet on the ground and standing vertical, and all the blood would rush to my legs, and it would feel like my legs were going to explode. My skin was so dry that like moving a finger was painful because it would like crack my skin and made me bleed. So that's what I was going through physically. So much pain, so much confusion. I think understanding that it was topical steroid withdrawal helped so much, because when I didn't know what was happening, that was terrifying. So being able to like understand what was going on in my body gave me a sense of, first of all, like understanding. Second of all, a sense of direction with what I could do to help myself as much as possible. Back then I didn't know as much as I know now about like detox pathways and gut healing. Like I knew a little bit, but I think I'd be better equipped to go through it now than I was then. But even so, like I was working with a nutritional therapy practitioner, and she really helped as well. So like we worked on detox and gut healing and all of those things to kind of counteract the effects of the steroids. So having that kind of treatment plan in place was really helpful. I think just having the support of someone else, like essentially having a coach, extremely helpful. And not to like tie this back to my own coaching, but this is a reason that I feel so passionately about people hiring a coach, is mentally it takes so much strain off of the day-to-day decisions. You can kind of outsource that stress, and you can just, put your fate in someone else's hands, do the things. And if you can just trust, then it takes so much of the second guessing out of it and the worrying that like you're the one making the wrong decisions. So that was really helpful for me in working with a nutritional therapy practitioner. And then lastly, I think like the big thing was deciding intentionally to not ignore the pain, but accept the pain and
Yeah.
learn from the pain, if that makes sense. Like, I think I realized pretty early on that I was working way too hard leading up to topical steroid withdrawal. Like, I think it came pretty soon after I was working 90 hours a week, barely sleeping, driving an extra 10 hours a week. Like, I had like no social life. I was just grinding on like YouTube stuff and in film production. And it was definitely unsustainable. And so recognizing that like topical steroid withdrawal forced me to slow down and forced me to change some habits that I had that long term would not be good for me. Like working 16-hour days and barely sleeping is not good for you. So being able to kind of find gratitude in that and reframe it in that capacity was really powerful. And then it also forced me to dive deeper into my relationship with my body. So before going through it, I think I've always had a pretty good relationship with my body, even though my content is relatively fat loss focused. For me, like losing fat isn't like, oh, I hate my body, I need to lose fat. It's just like, oh, like I want to change something. Same with like building muscle, just want to change something. So I've always really loved like how strong my body was and how it allowed me to move and work out and all of that. But then I went through topical steroid withdrawal and I couldn't work out. I couldn't move. I lost that thing that was my grounding relationship with my body. And so I had to dig even deeper to find something that allowed me to kind of stay in that positive mental space. And what I found was understanding that like no matter what, your body is your best friend. Like it is always fighting for you. It wants you to be as healthy as possible. If it feels like it's crumbling away into nothingness, that is it trying to tell you like, hey, something needs to change. We need support. And so being able to kind of cling to that, not cling to it, but like use that to develop a new and stronger relationship with my body and feel like I was kind of like marching into battle alongside my body mentally made me feel a lot more supported.
Yeah. When your body's not working right and it's like an identity crisis. When you can't do the things that you always do, then it becomes like, okay, who am I without these things?
Yeah.
And that can be really hard for people. And also if you're highly motivated, because you have to be if you are even willing to work 90 hours a week at some point, if you're highly motivated, not being able to like, quote, be productive is really hard and can really tank your mental health. So I like the way that you like reframed that. And I know that wasn't easy to do, but being able to move past it, accept it, and reframe it, I think is like, that's really inspiring. I think a lot of people going through chronic illness, if they could do that, it would help a lot.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest things that helped me was, I mean, this was particularly applicable to my situation because I was like literally molting because my skin was like falling off. But my boyfriend at the time told me, what was it exactly? He said something along the lines of like, you're molting because you are turning into a butterfly, kind of. And that was a metaphor that was actually like extremely helpful for me. Like I was like, okay, like I am essentially in my like cocoon phase. I am transforming. My body is going through all of these things. And that coupled with like finding the gratitude in having it force me to slow down, like allowed me to hold on to the transformative power of it and knowing that if and when I came out the other side, I would be in a much better, healthier place because not only would it have forced me to like slow down, develop new and better habits, but also I would be free of the topical steroids that I was putting in my body for years and years and years. So I think for anyone going through chronic illness and like going through a healing journey, that might be like a helpful metaphor is like you're in your cocoon phase, you're going through transformation, everything is changing. It might be a little bit painful, but on the other side of the healing is a much stronger version of you and you will get there eventually.
I love that. I actually will tell that to some patients that I work with. I think the cocoon part is really helpful for people. And it sounds like from what you were sharing, I know before we were talking about how mental health can impact your physical health and mental health barriers can impact your ability to lose fat. And then with what you're sharing, it seems to like there's this alternate direction there where your physical health really affects your mental health too. Do you
Yes.
feel like, your journey through the physical health caused you to have a different relationship with your mental health or like change some of your perspectives or your mindset?
Yeah, I think I'm a lot more of a positive person in general coming out of topical steroid withdrawal, mostly because I had to hammer in the positivity so strongly when I was going through it. And I think it definitely, before going through it, as far as I was aware, I was relatively healthy. And clearly I wasn't because I was having to use topical steroids all the time. But like I felt very healthy. So yeah, I had never had my physical health impact my mental health before then. So yeah, I definitely have like a new perspective on that. And I mean, even since going through topical steroid withdrawal, like I've been dealing with whatever underlying skin issues I had before going on the topical steroids. And so I haven't been 100% healed and healthy in a very, very, very long time. And it definitely, like, your physical health absolutely can take a toll on your mental health. And that's something that I think I've experienced even more profoundly in the last few years of trying to heal the underlying issues and feeling extremely frustrated with trying so many different things and not really making progress. Whereas before, like with topical steroid withdrawal, it was so painful. I just had to stay positive. But now it's like I'm not suffering as much. So the grasp on the positivity is less strong. And it's been easier to slip into a negative mindset when I've gone through flares. And so, yeah, learning to navigate that has been a challenge, but it's also been a very strong motivator for figuring out my underlying health issues and going deeper and deeper down the rabbit hole of research of skin science and just understanding what's going on with my body.
That's super neat. Yeah, thank you.
Was there anything in particular that you did to help heal from the topical steroid withdrawal? Was it mostly just like time and waiting it out, or did something that you did like really help?
It's a good question. I don't know if anything that I did actually helped. Like, it's quite possible that I could have just kept living my life and would have healed on the same timeline. But I did a lot of things.
Yeah,
So
I would too. I wouldn't be able to just like sit there like, I hope this goes away. Yeah, so what did you try?
yeah, so first thing I did, this was before I knew what was happening. I started the autoimmune protocol because I do have celiac disease. So I was like, okay, like skin issues can be autoimmune. Maybe I'm just having some crazy autoimmune flare. So I started the autoimmune protocol. And even after finding out that it was topical steroid withdrawal, I stuck with it because I do have an autoimmune disease. So I figured, it can't hurt to be eating one of the most potentially anti-inflammatory diets for someone with an autoimmune disease. So I stuck with that. Do I know if that helped? I don't know. What I do know is that nutrition probably impacted my healing journey. Like, I'm sure that helped a lot more than if I were eating the standard American diet and eating a ton of inflammatory foods. So I'm sure that played a part. I also focused a lot. I was given a lot of supplements by my nutritional therapy practitioner. Off the top of my head, I can't remember all of them, but I know that I was taking colostrum and a couple other supplements for gut health because I did, with my history of celiac disease, I had a history of being on antibiotics like kind of nonstop as a kid because I was sick all the time because I had undiagnosed celiac disease. So in theory, I might have had a lot of gut damage from that hadn't been healed. So we did a whole gut healing protocol. And then with supplements and a couple other things, we also implemented some detox support. So I think I was on a binder, probably something to support my liver. I was doing castor oil packs really regularly. I tried to sauna, but my skin was not having it. That was not a good idea for me, but that is something that I would like recommend for most people who need to support detox. I completely cut out exercise because my body just couldn't tolerate it. Like I mean, I could barely move. I wasn't about to start squatting a barbell. So I cut out exercise. I was walking as much as I could just to stay active, keep my lymph flowing, keep my blood flowing, all that good stuff. But I really took a huge step back from any fitness goals that I had because healing was my number one goal. And I'm sure that made a huge difference because exercise, while generally a positive stressor on the body, if your body's already way too stressed, then adding any sort of quote positive stressor on top of it is not going to be a positive stressor. You really need to empty your stress bucket as much as possible when your stress bucket is overflowing. So I cut out exercise. What else did I do? I think my nutritional therapy practitioner gave me an assignment of hanging out with a friend once a week to like have community, have support. And at the time, because I had been working 90 hours a week and had no social life, that was also a very positive habit that she made me develop and something that I think was really beneficial in the short term for the healing, because community is such a huge aspect of our sense of safety, like neurologically. So it was very helpful for healing, also helpful in the long term because now I have friends. Yay. So I think those were some of I feel like I'm probably forgetting something, but those are what stand out as like the biggest things that I did. Retrospectively, there were a couple supplements that I would have added in, but I just didn't learn about until later. Probably would have done more detox support. But again, there was like no one was talking about topical steroid withdrawal at the time. It was so hard to figure it out and find a diagnosis. So yeah.
That makes sense. That's a lot of stuff.
It was a lot. It was a full-time job.
Yeah, healing can definitely be a full-time job. So I know you've been doing your new skincare and you have the SymBioSkin. Do you want to tell us what role that plays in your skin and where you're at with your skin journey now and what prompted you to want to make that?
Yeah. So I launched SymBioSkin a couple months ago. Very excited about it. I think it truly feels like what I was meant to do, like with everything that I went through up until now, like my background in reading as much research as possible on various holistic health things and really having a good understanding of the microbiome and how that impacts your whole body. And then going through all of my own skin stuff and having to deal with that most of my life. So I think all of that kind of led me to creating SymBioSkin. And more recently, what it was is, like I said, post-topical steroid withdrawal, the skin issues that I'm sure I had before that the topical steroids were covering up came back. And so for the last 5-6 years, I've been trying to figure that out and trying all sorts of things, various elimination diets. I tried like pretty much every elimination diet I could think of, various other protocols and stuff, and nothing was really helping. And I forget what exactly it was that sparked going down the specific rabbit hole of the skin microbiome, but I found something about it. And I think this is what it was. I started learning about like the skin barrier and how to build skin barrier integrity and how important that is in skin health. And so I was putting diaper rash cream all over my body.
I've seen this.
It is
Yeah.
a very strong like barrier against the outside that allows your skin to heal. It's also full of zinc, which is really helpful in skin healing. So I was literally like covering myself in like a zinc paste and going to bed like that every night and just ruining like my bed sheets and my pajamas and everything. So just getting covered in zinc, but it was helping so much. And so I started looking into the skin barrier and really understanding how to heal that. And then also was kind of thinking about the skin microbiome. And at that time, I was also thinking about pivoting away from my YouTube channel and wanting to start like a new business, a new project, something. And so I went to one of my best friends who is a doctor. She's in residency to be a dermatologist. So she'll be a dermatologist in like a year or two. I went to her and I was like, hey, like I've been putting this diaper rash cream all over myself at night and it's helping so much. Like we should start a skincare company and like sell diaper rash cream as barrier repair cream, blah, 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 blah. So we were kind of talking about ideas and I was like, oh yeah. And we could create like a probiotic for the skin. And she got so excited because as a resident, like she has continuing education and stuff, and she is currently learning about, like there's a lot of studies coming out about the topical application of beneficial bacteria for skin health. And so she's learning all of this, but she said that there's no actual product that she can recommend to her patients. So I was like, this is the perfect niche to fill, like new, exciting science, nothing on the market that they can recommend. So we just went that direction. And the skin microbiome, let me tell you, so fascinating. Like, I mean, if you understand the gut microbiome, it is very similar to like kind of how it functions with the body symbiotically, but like our skin is supposed to be covered in good bacteria, just like your gut is supposed to be full of good bacteria. And these good bacteria do so many beneficial things for our skin. Like they keep your skin hydrated, they support your skin barrier function, they modulate your skin's immune system, they fight off bad bacteria on your skin. So like basically what you see in the gut with good bacteria, you also see on your skin. And there's just so much potential there for repairing your skin using what is naturally supposed to be on your skin. And so I'm very, very excited about it.
That is super exciting. And so what makes it, I've seen other skincare brands claim
Yes.
to have like probiotics or prebiotics or whatever in their skincare. What makes yours different?
Yeah, great question. There's like maybe 2 other companies that are kind of using actual probiotics in their skincare. Everything else that claims to be probiotic that I've been able to find, like I've been desperately trying to find other people doing this right. Most other companies are using variations of the bacteria that are not the live bacteria. So there's a very common ferment that you'll see in a list of ingredients, and I'm not going to be able to list it off because it's like 10 different names smashed together with a bunch of hyphens, and then it says ferment at the end. So if you see that, know that it is not actual live bacteria. They're using ferments, they're using lysates, they're using various postbiotics and putting it in the skincare, claiming that it is a probiotic skincare. And it's not a true probiotic because they're not using actual live bacteria. And this is because it's extremely difficult to work with live bacteria, right? Like they're very sensitive to light, to heat, to all sorts of things. And for any sort of like cream, lotion, any liquidy skincare, you have to add a preservative to it to prevent the growth of bad bacteria. But preservatives kill bacteria, so you can't have live bacteria in something with a preservative in it. It just doesn't really work. So that's kind of the trick there, is figuring out how to navigate that. So what we ended up doing, and I can, for anyone watching this, I'll show it on the video, but I will also walk through it for anyone listening. We have our skincare in a dual chamber ampule. So what this is it's a tiny little vial, essentially, that's like 1.5 inches long, and it has 2 chambers. The bottom chamber has the liquid portion of the skincare that's going to make it liquidy. The top chamber has the probiotic powder, as well as a couple other ingredients that support the growth of the bacteria, or the ability of the bacteria to do the good beneficial bacteria thing on your skin. So prebiotics, other ingredients that help the bacteria kind of adhere to the skin, all that good stuff. So when you're ready to use it, you can like peel off the little tab, push the 2 chambers together, and they combine. And so we are using freeze-dried bacteria that you would use in like most gut health supplements. Gut health probiotics are using freeze-dried bacteria because they're very shelf stable. And once they combine with liquid, they wake up and can start, doing their little bacteria thing and producing all of the postbiotics and things that benefit your skin. So we are taking that technology, combining it with the dual chamber ampule technology. And when you combine the chambers, the bacteria absorb the water and over the course of a few minutes, wake up, start swimming around doing the little bacteria thing, and then you can put it on your skin. And once they're on your skin, they produce various postbiotics that interact with your skin in a variety of different ways. And going back to the key differences, one of the key differences here is because you're putting live bacteria on your skin, it's inherently a much more intelligent, like the product itself has intelligence, right? Because it's live organisms that you're putting on your skin. And so these bacteria are going to be able to interact with your unique skin to balance your skin the way that it needs to be balanced, as opposed to these other products that are putting like a specific amount of a specific kind of postbiotic or ferment or something on your skin. And that's kind of only going to do that one thing in that one direction at that one specific dose. So that has no innate intelligence. It feels very woo-woo to say that it has like skincare with intelligence. But, like the bacteria are adapting to your unique skin. The other products are just putting a specific thing on your skin, and hopefully it's going to be what your skin needs. But it might be a little bit too much, a little bit not enough. It might not be even the right kind of whatever it is that's going to benefit your skin. So that's the key differentiator.
That's amazing. And it's almost like, so like adaptogens are supposed to like do whatever you need them to do in your body. So it sounds kind of like that, but like much more sciencey. That is very cool. I love that. So how do you have to like refrigerate your skincare? Do you have to do anything special?
No, yeah. I mean, you should probably not microwave it, but
Sure.
No, you should keep it like in a cool, dry place. You don't want it like sitting in the sun. You don't want it getting super hot. But for the most part, it is very like shelf stable beyond leaving it like on a shelf in the sun. It's the same shelf stability as an oral probiotic would have. So like you could keep it next to your oral probiotic and it would be just fine.
Wow, that's so neat. So who all does this benefit? Like obviously, if you're recovering your skin barrier, it sounds like, but what is the scope of things that you feel like having this bacteria on the skin could help?
Yeah, there's a lot of really cool new research. We are using a strain of bacteria specifically that there's research to show. I don't want to make any like medical claims about our product, but with this strain of bacteria, there is research to show that it can help with acne because it can help reduce some of the inflammation associated. It can also inhibit the growth of Staph aureus and C. acnes, which are known to be acne-causing bacteria. It modulates the skin's immune response, increasing like regulatory T cells, reducing immune cell accumulation. More aesthetically, it can help with collagen synthesis and elastin production. So, it's gonna like strengthen your skin, keep it more elastic and nice looking. It can enhance potentially the expression of genes involved in skin barrier function. So it can strengthen the skin barrier, which will make your skin like less reactive, less red, a lot of cool things like that. So what this kind of translates to is, if you have skin issues, things that are causing dry skin, redness, irritation, this could potentially help reduce that, calm that, restore your skin microbiome essentially so that your skin can naturally repair itself and just be a lot stronger. Because a lot of those issues, a lot of them have other underlying issues as well. Obviously, like if you're intolerant to dairy and you're eating a ton of cheese and it's giving you acne, like you need to stop eating the cheese. Like that's going to be the root cause solution. But it also like eating the cheese when you're intolerant to dairy could be contributing to an imbalance in your skin microbiome. And so this is going to be like the topical thing that is going to fix it from the outside in, as opposed to some skin issues that also need inside out support. But beyond that, as a whole, it should just help your skin be more glowy, more resilient, look better, because it's modulating your skin in ways that a lot of people are trying to achieve with various topicals that they're using. Like this huge trend of like 12-step skincare routine.
Can't do it.
It's so crazy because we're trying to do all these things to our skin. You want it to be glowier, you want fewer wrinkles, you want all of the retinol to do all of the things. But at the same time, those products, like these actives that you're using, tend to be very harsh for the skin microbiome, and or you're using skincare with preservatives that hurt your skin microbiome. So you're doing all of these steps and trying to do all of these things to force your skin to be one way when you could just naturally support your skin microbiome and it will naturally do a lot of these things. I'm not saying that you're going to get the same results as you would with like a prescription strength retinol, but it is something that could definitely be used in conjunction. Like a lot of people are married to their actives, their skincare, etc. So I'm not saying everyone needs to stop that right now, but if you are using those kinds of products, you're probably negatively affecting your skin microbiome. And so something like a probiotic serum would be really, really helpful in alternating with those products to support that skin microbiome. Because when your skin microbiome is in balance, it's going to make those things more effective also, assuming that they're actually helping your skin. A lot of people are using stuff that's actually destroying your skin barrier and you should stop. But let's assume that people's skincare is like high quality and supportive. At the very least, you should be supporting your skin microbiome at the same time. And those are going to work synergistically to give you the best possible skin, as opposed to doing your 12-step skincare routine every night and slowly damaging your skin microbiome. And now you have skin that can't support itself. And you get stuck in this endless loop of like trying new products or like trying a product and it works for a while. And then like you're not noticing the same results and stuff like that. So the benefits really range from helping people with skin issues that they're trying to heal from, all the way to people that are just using a bunch of skincare to try to boost their skin aesthetically. And this is going to come in synergistically to support that.
That sounds way more simple too, because I'm not for the 12-step skin routine. One, how do you know what's working and what's not working if you're putting that much on your face? And two, who has time for that? I don't want all that on my face. That just it feel like I don't like how that feels.
Yeah, I have sensitive skin. Like I can't even put retinol on my face if I wanted to. So it's cool that there's alternatives out there.
Yeah, we're very excited about this. And the research is super new. The people that have tried the probiotic serum so far have gotten really cool results. Like I've used it on myself. I wouldn't have released it into the world if I hadn't used it on myself. And I noticed like huge benefits for myself and my own skin issues. Like I was going through a period where I would wake up sometimes and just my neck would be like extremely itchy and red and inflamed, and I wouldn't know what to do. And I started, like, as I was formulating this, I had tiny little capsules of like various versions of the formula. And so whenever that would happen, I would like put it on and see how it felt. And we got to a point where I had a formulation where within like 20 or 30 minutes of putting it on my neck, my symptoms were reduced by like 90%. Like it's such a miracle for me. And again, I don't want to make medical claims and say that's going to be the case for everyone, but like I've given it to other people with similar skin issues and also have gotten really cool results for them. So I'm very, very excited to be working on this.
So have you officially launched the product? Like we can buy it online?
Yeah, so it's in technically more of like a beta launch phase right now. Like our packaging is sad. The goal right now is get it into as many hands as we can and get feedback on it. So right now it's actually available. It is available for purchase online at a much cheaper price than it's going to be, because I do want people to get it, and you get a $10 rebate if you give us feedback, if you like fill out the feedback form that'll be sent to you. So yeah, if you want to try it, much cheaper than it is ever going to be, and also have the opportunity to like shape the future of the product. Because if we do end up getting, a ton of feedback where people are like, I want this to be more hydrating, then we're going to work on making it more hydrating. So if you want the chance to like shape the future of this, hopefully the future of skincare, you can buy it now with sad packaging, but our formulation that we are very excited about.
That's amazing. Very exciting. It must be like very exciting to get to be, you're an entrepreneur and you're getting to bring new things into the world. That's really neat.
Yeah, no, like I said at the beginning of this conversation, like I feel like this is truly what I was meant to be working on. Like everything feels like it led to this, and the version of me that was going through topical steroid withdrawal, like I wish I could just go back and like give her a hug and be like, we're going to create the coolest skincare that the world has ever seen, like thanks to you going through this. So it makes that version of me feel even more gratitude for the the suffering that I went through to like ultimately get here.
That's beautiful.
Anything else? We'll leave your everything in the show notes, everything about the skincare, where people can follow you on social media.
Marisa, is there anything that you wish, like people who are struggling with skin stuff or fitness, or is there anything that you want to share, like that you wish people knew, or like a message that you wish you could share with people who are struggling?
Yes, there's so much. Some of the first things that come to mind are embracing and understanding bio-individuality when it comes to any sort of journey with your body, whether it be a fat loss journey, a fitness journey, a health journey, a health struggle, understanding that there really is no one size fits all solution, and the body is very complex. And so if you're trying this like one thing that you saw on the internet and it seemed to be working for a ton of people and it's not working for you, it's not necessarily because your body is broken or there's anything wrong with you or that you're just like not doing it right. It could just be that that's not what is going to work for your body, and that's okay. And it can take some experimentation. It can take, like I said before, hiring a coach could be really, really helpful depending on what you're trying to accomplish. But yeah, there's no magic bullet that's going to work for everyone. So having that resilience to kind of try things and be okay with those things not working, with those things failing, is what is going to get you to the ultimate solution and get you to the place that you want to be.
I love that. I think that's a really good reminder for people. So everyone listen to Marisa, because that's a really good idea. And yeah, we always, I think, try to remind people like, hey, what works for us or someone else may not work for you. And everyone's healing journey is just so different. So yeah, well, thank you so much for joining us. I'm super excited about your skincare, and just I have always loved following you on social media. So thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much. This was a great conversation.
All right, we'll catch you all next time. Thank you everyone for listening. Thanks for joining us for another weekly reset. If you loved hanging out with us today, subscribe so you never miss an episode, and share this with a friend who could use a little calm and connection too.
This show is for education and inspiration, not medical advice. To learn more or connect with us, check out the show notes below. Until next time, take care of your mind, your body, and your heart.